Alright, so I'm going to do a quick video here on the radial arm saw. This is an old Dewalt, it's a three-phase motor, I'm sorry. I got it from a guy on Craigslist. I paid all of $50 for it. He claims he didn't have any room for it in his shop. I think the real reason is he bought it at auction and realized it was three-phase and he didn't have a way to power it. Well, lucky for me, I figured out a way, or I didn't exactly figure it out. I was going to use a rotary three-phase converter. This is actually called a variable frequency drive. This one's a WEG CW10. It's a 2-horse. What it does is it converts 220 single phase to 220 or 240 three-phase. So you're able to run a three-phase machine in your shop without spending thousands of dollars to have three-phase wired to your shop. This particular one, I paid $250 for this, so a $50 saw with a $250 variable frequency drive. Before I get started, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the saw, just for those that are interested, because this is an old one. It's a model 1030. This one in particular was used at the school district, so I'm not quite sure what the whole story is on it. I did some modifications to it. I went ahead and swapped out the 10-inch blade that came with it, and I put this 12-inch one so I can do some beam work. The guard is right here. I don't usually run the 12-inch blade. I run it with the guard because this is really unsafe. If you get hung up with your clothing or whatever, you're gonna have a real bad day. So everything works fine. They actually modified it to have a counterweight on it, so it pulls back. It's kind of a nice little addition. It's extremely accurate. I had to do a little bit of adjusting to get it to work the way I wanted, but I'll show you a quick cut with it. I got to hook up power. So this is my 220 that I'm running to it. It comes in 223 wire. Plug her up here, and you can see the drive clicks on and it tells you when it's ready. So by default, the program I have on this one, I did all the wiring myself. That's why it's kind of a mess. But you can see here's all the three-phase wires. There's a manual that tells you how to do all the wiring. It takes a little bit of time. I'm still in the process of wiring up a remote. So that's what these wires will be for. Basically, I'll be able to put a switch up here and not have to reach back to push any of the buttons up here. But to power it on, it first has to say ready, but it's this little button right here. You push it, and it spools up. And it goes down. Now, I actually prefer to have it spool like that because if you hit your breaker hard with the direct draw, it'll flip the breaker. Like this shaper right here, I got about a 75% chance that it'll run first try, and the other 25% it's gonna flip the breaker. So I'm actually thinking of just getting a 120 volt variable frequency drive just to put on that so I can have the ramp feature. I really like the ramp feature that this thing has. So you can actually, when you go in here, you can change the hertz. I have the American standard for electricity is 60 hertz. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but you can actually over torque your drive to 120. I think it's like the most you can go. Actually, it's only letting me go to 66, but you can go even higher than that. I'm not sure if you have to have a special program for it, but you can get a lot more horsepower and torque out of your three-phase engine if you're running the variable frequency drive. So again, I'll show you what it looks like over here. I did have to do a little bit of modification to this saw to be able to run the 12-inch saw blade, just because the center hole in the 12-inch is bigger than this. So I had to machine a bushing to fit in there. And actually, if you hold on one second, I'll show you how this works. So this is what it looks like to take the blade off. Pretty easy. And technically you should shut your power off, but for this I'm not going to. So this nut right here is actually a brass nut, and it's reverse threaded. Then we have a washer to keep it in place. And here's the hole that I had to make a bushing for. You can see that's the one that it's supposed to run. This is the one that I'm running currently. I bought this one brand new. This is another $40 blade. I bought it brand new because you don't see 12-inch blades very often, especially one like this, a carbide tip wood blade. So you'll see them a lot for metal, but not for wood. So here's the bushing, and it was funny because when I went to Lowe's, I asked them if they sold bushings, and the guy didn't even know what a bushing was. So that's what that goes. It just makes it so that it'll accept it. And the other thing I do is I actually cut metal on this too. I can adjust the frequency so it's a little bit lower, so it spools up. And you can run it at different frequencies. Like right now, there's 49. You can run it at 30 is probably the best for cutting metal. But there you go. So then you put your metal blade on there, and you're ready to go. The blade I have is that one right there. It's just the Dewalt. I think I paid $5 for it. Works really well. You can do all your miter cuts on it, any angle you want. Only difference is it throws sparks a little bit. So that's it for this one. This is the Dewalt saw. I think it's like a 1972 or something like that. I'll put the exact model in the video description. Again, 3-phase, 240 motor, and the 1030 model. So really good saw. Super happy with it. Really accurate. Probably hard to find. And if you're ever considering a 3-phase tool but you don't have 3-phase hookup, this is the way to do it. One thing I didn't say is if you do end up running a rotary phase converter or a solid state phase converter, there's a lot of loss. Like I'm not sure if it's voltage loss or which one it is, but if you got a 2-phase or a 2 horsepower motor, which is what I have, you'd have to run a 5 horsepower rotary engine or motor, and there's a bunch of, because you're physically converting the energy from single to triple, there's loss in that system. So when you run a variable frequency drive, there's no loss between this cable here and the motor. Whereas if you put that in between part, that rotary phase converter, you're going to have loss in the system. So I'm able to run a 2 horse to a 2 horse instead of trying to overcompensate for the loss. It's a really cool item. I'm glad I heard about it. Glad I found out about it. And it's able to do a whole lot more than what I'm using it for. So cool thing to do, and hopefully that was helpful for anybody that watches this video. So I'll let you go with that.